This is the block we're making today, and it's called Pineapple. Thank you, Liz, for that. It's a good title. Well, I'm going to do it in different colourways to this, but it starts off with one 8" by 3" piece and one 8" by 2" piece, and that creates four shaded 4 patches in the centre. So I'll sew that together now. We press this towards the smaller piece, and then we cut it up into smaller pieces. If this is 2 inches, we cut the pieces up into 2" pieces, 2" strips. I put the line there just to make sure that it's going straight. And 2. All right. Now we take 2 of these and place them in the other direction. So this one sits on top of that, and that one sits on top of that. And they're sewn down one of the long sides. After sewing these together along the long side like that, and it now looks like this, we fold them in half and snip it right through the stitching, like that. Press them the way they want to go, so it looks like this. And then we put the right sides together of this pink fabric and that, and then we draw lines going from this corner we want to just touch that point there where these two meet and where those two meet. So we draw it like that, and we stitch on this line and turn it round and do the same thing this way from the corner, just touching on that, and then it's about a 45-degree angle. There, see, 45. Now I'll stitch that. So it's like this. Right side, right side. And we cut this now, leaving your seam allowance. I think it's time for a new blade. Definitely time for a new blade. You can just cut it down the middle, but I sort of like to stick to the seam allowance. Now we press that open to the large side. Yeah, 3.5, but I'm trimming it down to 3 so it fits with what I'm doing. I know, terrible waste. So now we have this one and this one, so you'll have 4. And I'm now going to attach this. Now we attach this to this 4 times, sew it on the line. There, so that's going to be like that 4 times on 4 of these. We cut the back part off, leaving a seam allowance. And press. Right, there's another way of doing this without making the shaded 4 patch. I'll show that a simpler way if you feel intimidated by the 4 patch or you just don't want to do it. Now we've got to make these. It will all be in a downloadable PDF. What have we got? We've got 12 ones with a solid body and 8 with the pattern body. It's just the usual flying geese. Do one side, sew it on, do the other side, cut the bits off, and they come out like that. I'll finish these ones off now. We trim the excess, leaving a seam allowance. And press it open. We cut it off, leaving the seam allowance. And press. Now we have to trim them back a bit. Leave the 1/4 inch seam allowance at the top, making sure that's as straight as possible. Trim it back to 1 3/4. Down to 3. They're all ready to go. And I'll finish these off. The 4 of these with the backs and the little snowball-y bit. The alternative to the shaded 4 patch is this, a 2 inch square, a 2.5 inch square cut diagonally, and then you put it together like that. You sew down there and down there with your seam allowance. So that's how it's sewn, down one side and the other, just so you create a straight line there with these. If you fiddle around with it a bit, you'll get it right. And we leave it the inevitable. I use this line to go from point to point to make sure everything's straight. And then we had a, what was it, 3 3/4 inch piece square cut diagonally, and that sits on top. Now this is all on the bias, so you have to be careful. Someone suggested using starch on it to hold it a bit more, and that's a good idea. There's one of our friends here suggested that. Now we do your seam allowance along there. Press it open to the large side, line it up, and trim it back to 3. And that gives you the same thing as the shaded 4 patch. If you find that easier, I understand that. Well, that's it. The pineapple block. Quite a few mistakes in this one, unfortunately. But I'm not going to do anything about it now. This one was much better execution of it. I've missed a few points, but that's the way it goes sometimes. Anyway, there'll be a downloadable PDF with all the instructions and all the bits and pieces if anyone wants to do this. Well, that's it. So some things work out, most times they work out, which is good, but I'll just have that as my humility block, I guess, but you get the idea of it anyway. So I hope someone will do it, someone will use it, and it'll be useful. I've included a downloadable PDF, and I've also included a site where they do 4 flying geese at a time, because there's a lot of flying geese in this, so I'll just include that at the bottom so you can do multiple flying geese. It's a great way to do it. I've done it, but I'm just happy to just do my single flying geese. Well, I do appreciate you watching. Thank you, and on to the next one. Thank you. Bye.